Hello everyone, this is Freya and welcome to a new episode of A Discovery of Runes. In this episode, we are going to talk about Eivas. Eivas, the most mysterious rune in the Elder Futhark. This is a rune I do not use in fortune telling, but in magic and spell casting instead. I met Eivas on a very cold, misty day years ago when I was sitting next to my favorite river. In that river, I have always felt the power of the water cascading down the steep mountain walls, but it was a different power of water. It was the eroding power of water, the transformational power of water. As the river flowed in the stream bed, on that very day I heard the yoik of Eivas in the echoing voice of the river's water, eroding the movable soil, sand, stone, rocks, almost like chasing the perfect flow. That sound climbed up and down the waterfall and its river like if it was the trunk of Yggdrasil. The sound of Eivas felt like the erosion of death as an instant, allowing me to perceive that the instant dims, fades, reverberates, transforms if I allow it to. And that death in her yoik did not sound like the death I knew and feared, but like a transformation and rebirth, all of that in an instant. Eivas happens in an instant, where the sound of death with the erosive power of the waterfall crashing sound becomes a riverbed, reborn, transformed. Eivas connects the two worlds, our world, the riverbed, and the world of the gods, the crashing waterfall pouring from the mouth of the giants on top of our mountain peaks. Hence, it is, in my opinion, a rune to use in magic more than in fortune telling. Eivas is the path you can visibly navigate back to the peak of the mountains where the gods and the giants sit. Eivas happens when your tears join the crashing sound of waterfalls, when your tears become warriors rather than victims, heading into the riverbed which melts into the underworld, in which the stern yet deeply benevolent goddess Hel resides. Eivas is your power to alter the instant, to transform the death of that instant into new life. This is what makes her completely different from Hagalas. It is its erosive abilities that are immensely transformational. Think about how powerful she is. While the majority associate Eivas to Yggdrasil, to me Eivas is the waterfalls of Yggdrasil, the dew of the ash tree falling down from the mountain peaks through waterfalls into river beds. When the world tree Yggdrasil shudders and groans through the crashing voice of a waterfall, the yoik it sings is Eivas. When the water acts like an arrow from the bow of the gods and cuts down through the mountains, that is the movement of Eivas. The erosive power of Eivas brings opposites together and weaves life and death into a single seamless pattern. In magical work, Avas was never used for writing, not to my knowledge, but its use was strictly connected to spells and magical formulas. Indeed, it never made it to the younger Futhark, most likely for this reason. In magical workings, Avas can be used to travel in between worlds, so I often use it to communicate with the departed, the ancestors in October and November, or in general in the colder months when nature is completely still and the two worlds come ever so slightly closer. Avas brings together different dimensions. It is also the main rune I use to connect with the fairies and the little people. Avas makes their world more accessible to us. In divination, I feel its meanings can encompass endings and beginnings, but mainly our ability to be reborn after a time of great change, when we are the magicians who reinvent our place in the world through soul searching. Avas throws us up and down the world pillar, the giant ash tree where its dew, its waterfalls shake us, erode us, corrode us, dismember us, and put us together to allow us to gain a new perspective on what is important to us and how we should approach the situation and people in our life. Associations, gods, Odin. The yoke of Odin is a yoke of death, change, and life, and initiatory death, and it beautifully echoes in the sound of Avas, which has the shape of our sacred world tree, the ash tree. Although many might not agree here, I feel Yggdrasil was not a yew tree, which in Norwegian is called barlin, and it is most certainly not common, and because it is, in my opinion, definitely referred to as an ash tree in the 19th stanza of Voluspo, to be precise. So, if it was originally a yew tree, the mistranslation happened before the 10th century. Animal, spider, and salmon. The spider is the sacred animal of this rune, as it goes up and down its web, like our souls ascend and descend the Yggdrasil tree. Salmon for the very same movement, I would say, of jumping up a waterfall and swimming upstream. Object of power, the bow and the spear, because they can represent our drive, our focus, when the crashing waterfall hit us, erode us, and corrode us in life. And because the trajectory of the spear cascading down from the mountains can be visibly seen and navigated upwards with the help of the salmon animal spirit to reach the gods sitting by their stallu on top of the mountain's peaks. Element, in my opinion, all, because of the rune immense transformational power. But I feel that the activating element of the journey to this rune is for sure water. Color white as the color of the waterfalls. Tree, ash tree, because it represents the life force, because of its association to wisdom, knowledge, and divination, which are the very blood of Avas. Because to me it is a tree that joins the worlds, it is the backbone of our universe, a tree whose main yoik, as for the rune Avas, is a yoik singing of death and rebirth in an instant. What are you going to make of that instant?